Hi, everyone. The next demo is the visual squash, a classic NLP technique with my slant on it. And it's really good for anything where you have that conflict between the conscious and the subconscious mind. Generally, people will say, hey, part of me wants to quit drinking, but part of me is afraid I'll never have fun again. Part of me wants to give up chocolate, but part of me loves it. Whatever the issue is, and people do that with their hands. They'll even go, part of me, which lets you know there's a, a conflict. To me, it's between the conscious and the subconscious. Consciously, you should quit drinking if we're going to use it for addiction. But subconsciously, there's fear there. And so what's always won is the subconscious, or you would stop. Every day, people quit drinking, quit smoking, lose weight, change their behavior, get out of dysfunctional relationships. Every day, people do it. Never call one of us, hypnotist, therapist, psychologist, whatever, right? But most of us can't do that, especially if you have that conflict, that part of you still hanging on to it. So here's the technique. And if you want the written version of it, just shoot me an email at drwillhorton@gmail.com, and I'll send you the script that I use. And it's basically a script. And then once you learn it, and like I tell people, when you're learning these techniques, feel free to follow the script until you're really comfortable enough to go off script. One of my pet peeves, and I don't hide this, is this bullshit I hear hypnotists say, I never prepare anything. And I'm like, well, unless you're Milton Erickson. And by the way, Milton Erickson prepared before he worked with somebody. He did not just go off the cuff, right? So, when you're first learning a technique, I was just doing this recently with some of the new polyvagal techniques that people are doing. It's like I had to follow the script, as an actor, my other profession, there's a script for a reason. They want these words in a certain order. That's what the writer wrote. That's what the director wants on the stage. So why not feel free to follow the script until you can kind of customize it and make it your own. So here's the technique, and the lovely Miss Michelle is going to work with us again. And so let's get started. So are you ready, Miss Michelle?
I am.
Okay. So let's say you have an issue, right? That part of you wants to do something and part of you doesn't, right? Could be something like, giving up those last remnants of chocolate, right? That, part of me really wants to, because I could live the rest of my life and never eat chocolate. But part of me bought into the bullshit about, it makes you feel good. It's, which, by the way, that, as you well know, that study was funded by the Hershey Corporation, which has a vested interest in the outcome of the research, as we're finding out. Very rarely is science pure anymore, right? And so let's just use something like that. But part of you wants to make this change, correct? And part of you doesn't, right? And all we're going to do is do a little negotiation between your conscious and your subconscious, right? Because obviously the subconscious is winning, right? Which means you keep doing the behavior you don't want to do. I just did this yesterday with a guy for his drinking. He wanted to quit drinking, but part of him was afraid he'd never have fun again, right? Even though intellectually he knew he didn't drink till later in life, till he got to college. So he's like, I had a lot of fun before I drank. In fact, I go, are there any examples where you had fun and you weren't drinking as an adult? He go, oh yeah, plenty. So it doesn't have to make sense that this thing is hanging on to this, right? So let's just have some fun with this. So what I want you to do is take a deep breath, and before you close your eyes, I want you to think about a person, place, or thing that you love. Person, place, or thing that you love. And where in your body do you feel that love? It's right in your heart. Does it have a color?
Yes, I'd say pink.
A pinkish color. Is it warm, cold, moving, still? Kind of
a warm, moving color.
Right there, right? And you love this stuff, right? And you nurture it, right? If it's a person, you would nurture this person. Okay, good. So now I want you to take a deep breath and close your eyes. And I want you to just get comfortable. And you don't have to go into deep trance. Just kind of close your eyes. And if my bird screams in the background, as I tell everyone right now, because of the hurricane, we're still a little stressed here. But I'd like you to just realize that the part of you that's hanging on to this is trying to take care of you. And at one moment, it might have served a good purpose, right? But maybe it's just no longer useful. Maybe at one moment in time it was, now it's just not. Or you'd like to alter your relationship with it, if you will. So that part of you is actually trying to keep you safe, healthy, happy, and secure. And for some reason, it's locked into the, I'll call it false belief, that you need chocolate to maybe enjoy a meal or to relax or to nurture yourself or whatever it is. So just let that part pop into your mind. And look at this part of you that hangs on to the behavior. And know that maybe you learned this growing up, especially, the way you were raised, the people around you. But it doesn't mean you can't change. Right? And so acknowledge that this part is trying to keep you safe, healthy, happy, and secure. But all we're going to do is update its information. It's like you're running Windows 97 or something, right? You need to update your programming. And so as you're doing that, just kind of get comfortable. Let this part take a color, a shape, a sound, a feel. Whatever it is, but it's the part of you that's hanging on to that behavior. And now what I'd like you to do is next to it in your mind's eye, imagine the part of you that for whatever reason or reasons wants to make this change, lose weight, be healthier, be a better example for your clients and other people around you, to just show that it can be done. Whatever those reasons are, only you need to know what they are. Just like only you need to know the reasons you're hanging on to that. No one else. So the part of you that wants to make this change, you have all those conscious reasons: health, vitality, looks, all that stuff. Now I'd like to thank this part because it wants you to be safe, healthy, happy, and secure also. Good. Good. And now for the first time, I would like you to let these two parts face each other in your mind, body, and spirit at the same time, because they haven't really been communicating. It's like one is night, one is day. They never mix. So let's bring them together. And so the part of you that wants to make this change, that wants to give it up once and for all, can acknowledge the part of you that's hanging on to it and give some love, care, and nurturing, and know that you can do everything this part that's struggling to let go of it, whatever those things that it thinks it needs chocolate to do, that you can do without chocolate. So they begin to negotiate. And the part of you that keeps you going backwards maybe agrees for the first time to try to make this change permanent. So they begin to negotiate. And the part of you that wants to make this change reassures the part of you that fights it that you can do this and still be safe, healthy, happy, and secure. And the part of you that kept you stuck agrees to use its stubbornness and drive and tenacity to help you make this change. And so they begin to negotiate. Many people notice a cord of light or energy between the two. Many people just kind of notice the negotiations. And you don't have to understand it consciously, because many things are beyond our conscious awareness. And so they begin to move closer and closer together, because at the highest level, they both want you to be safe, healthy, happy, and secure, and the best you that you can be. And they know that by getting rid of these conflicts, it just helps you. And so they begin to move closer and closer together. They begin to move closer and closer together, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, working out every single detail, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, for you to make this change. That's right. And you notice some shifting taking place physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in ways you can't put your finger on, and that's okay. Now, many people notice the two images start to blur together or blend together, taking on, because neither part's giving up anything. In fact, they're going to grow stronger for the merge, much like we see two corporations merge. They usually come out stronger because they take the best from each one. And so as they begin to blend and merge, you feel these shiftings taking place physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That's right. And so bring it in there into your consciousness. Notice what this new part looks like, sounds like, and feels like. And what if you can let this part negotiate into you so it goes right into that heart area and mixes with the pink so you can love and nurture it the same way that you would nurture a child, whether it's a student, child, relative. You would let them grow and change. And so love and care this new part of you until it becomes a permanent part. And now look at times in the future where you'll surprise and delight yourself by saying no, thank you. If someone offers you chocolate cake, piece of chocolate, gourmet chocolate, whatever it is, when someone offers, you'll surprise yourself by saying no, thank you, by saying no, meaning no, and enjoying no. Without any conflict, physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. Good. And so as you bring all of this together, bring it inside, love and nurture it, let it go into every cell, every fiber of your body. So when you look into the future, you know that just because you did something in the past doesn't mean you have to do that in the future. It was back there. It's no longer in your future trajectory. And you even begin to say, if someone mentions having chocolate, you can just say, that's not who I am anymore. Maybe at one moment in time it was, but it's just not who I am anymore. Which is what we hear people say all the time when they give up a habit they no longer want. No, I used to drink, I used to smoke, I used to eat chocolate, whatever it was, but it's not who I am anymore. And it's done with no guilt, no shame, no remorse, no anger, just a statement of fact. So bring all those together and bring it in your heart and take a deep breath. And as you exhale, realize that the more you try to go back to the old behavior, the harder it's going to become starting now and for the rest of your life. The more you try to go back and eat chocolate cake, chocolate cookies, chocolate anything, the more you don't want to do it. And now take one more breath. And as you exhale, open your eyes. Good. Good. Did it come together?
Oh, it came together. If I had on my left, the part that did not want to give it up, and on my right, that part that wants to make the change. This part was brown, like a chocolate brown. This part was blue. Here was the love. And so it's this line, you had them come together. This one was the part that didn't want to change, was a little afraid. So the part that wanted to change came forward with the blue and said, you said, give it the determination. So it's like, let's work together. And so I'll take some determination. So my blue got a little brown, from determination. And then the blue said, don't you want to be pink, like the love? And brown said, yes. And so unzipped the brown to unzip the fear, the brown to expose this pink. And then they went to the middle, because you said go to the middle. So they went to the middle and you were talking, and they dove into the love, and blue became purple. The past became even more pink. And, then it was like, no, thank you. That's not who I am. And they were shouting it like, that's not who I am. It's not who I am. And so, and look at how my hands came together. Yeah. As in prayer, this is who I love. This is who I want to be. Determined to give up that bad habit, determined, you know, with love.
Cool.
Yeah, you did that. Thank you.
Yeah, well, no problem. And for the people watching, this is what generally happens. Sometimes, as Milton Erickson used to say, and Virginia Satir, and Fritz Perls, sometimes the less you put your version in it, you just use open-ended Ericksonian language for those of us that do that, people will fill in the blanks on their own, right? And, you know, the script, again, if you want the script, just send an email to drwillhorton@gmail.com or go to my website, drwillhorton.com. There's a way to get in touch with me. I'll send you the version I use. And again, it's not about blaming wherever this behavior came from. You know, again, if we're working with addictions, especially alcohol and drugs, if you grew up in a culture where there was a lot of drinking, and I always self-disclose things like, hey, don't trust a man that doesn't drink. You can never have fun if you don't drink. You know, real men can handle their liquor. That becomes a belief set. Now, 30 years later, you're trying to quit drinking. There's that little party who goes, well, I'll never have fun again. You know, I'm not a real man. Why can't I do this? And then you see that conflict. So, you know, you can tweak it for a lot of different things. It's one of the basic techniques of NLP, one of my favorites. And I will tell people that generally, I know Michelle's seen this and other people, that my first session, 95% of the time, I'm going to do a visual squash somewhere in there. Why? If you didn't have that conflict, why the hell are you calling me, giving me money? Or when I used to have my, well, I still got one, a physical location. Why are you coming in to talk to me? Because like I said, every day people quit smoking. They don't have to go see a hypnotist. One of my friends in the recovery world, he goes, yeah, I quit smoking about 6 months ago. And he goes, the only thing he said is, you were right. Very few people noticed he quit smoking. Right. And I said, well, I noticed you weren't sitting outside with the smokers is the only thing I noticed. Right. And he goes, no, it's just finally sick and tired of it. And he crumpled the cigarettes up and quit. Right. Now, good for him. Most people might not be able to do that. So anyway, that's the visual squash, and have some fun with it. If you have any questions, again, reach out, and I will see you as we trudge the road to happy destiny.